Hey, Maidan here. For those who don't know me, I'm a composer and so far I've released 95 songs under a Creative Commons license. Over the years I received a lot of questions about this license, why I used it and the pros and cons, and I thought that'd be a cool occasion to make a video for everyone. You should grab a tea though, this will be boring, I'm sorry. So of course this will be only my 2 cents and spoilers, it was overall a super positive experience for me, except maybe that time where someone may have stolen one of my songs, but we'll get there. So first, context.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. I said let him cook.
Again, for those who don't know me, I'm 31, I currently live surrounded by trees lost in the countryside of France. I've made music for a long time, but it's been 4 years that I'm doing this professionally, meaning that I write custom music in exchange for money, and money can then be exchanged for goods and services.
$20. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
For example, I've wrote the music for a game called Terranil, or wrote music for a YouTuber called Kyle Hill. So now I make music professionally, but that wasn't always the case. If you saw maybe my Q&A, you might remember that I initially wanted to be a doctor, but ended up in physiotherapy school due to my rank. But after getting my diploma and deciding that I won't be a PT, I started to produce more music again in my free time. And back in 2017-2018, I decided to publish my work under a Creative Commons attribution license. At that time, I had basically no listeners and no one knew me. I was even struggling to share my music to my partner. I was shy and, let's talk real here, I was clearly depressed on top of that. I didn't know anything about the music industry, and to me making music in exchange of money was not for me. But more than that, I thought this was simply impossible. So the move wasn't, I want to publish my work everywhere and be famous. It was more, gosh, I like art. I like open source philosophy. Such a pleasure to spend 18 hours to install a working Arch Linux build. That'd be so cool if my work could be used in art projects, without the hassle of licensing, money and copyright. So eventually art would produce more art and I'd be happy. I will never do this as a job, might as well share this super small niche side project in case someone, by any chance, finds this work interesting, so they can use it for something, I don't know. So I was looking for websites that share CC music and I found the Free Music Archive and submitted my work here and there and stopped thinking about it. That's where things became interesting. To my surprise, the numbers kept rising, and my work started to be shared here and there, to the point of hearing my music on videos that made millions of views. I was stunned. It was internationally, but also in France. So for example, there's this French website called Au Bout du Fil that shares CC music, and one of my songs called Synthwave Vibe, released in 2018, quickly went top 1 with 100k downloads and 100k plays. My songs were apparently becoming a bit popular.
Pas mal, non? C'est français.
So to answer one of the questions that I've been asked, yes, releasing CC music may help your numbers, and one of the reasons of this, in my opinion, is that your music can now be used in a lot of projects, and a lot of people need music, right? But thing is, if this was this easy, well, everyone would do it, right? And I don't think that's the case. Thing is, I think I was lucky to begin with. Lucky to be found by the right people at the right time. There's a lot of really awesome CC songs that are not popular at the moment. Let's play some. So in the end, I'm not sure releasing CC would automatically means more plays. But since there's this possibility, due to what I think is high demand for CC music, think about indie game developers for example, I'll put this on the plus side of CC. Easy share, easy use, easy anything. I personally connected with a lot of truly amazing people, and I don't know, maybe that wouldn't have been possible if my music was copyrighted in the first place. I guess I'll never know for sure. I feel like CC music and other CC stuff, by the way, directly contributes to a lot of cool stuff. And you probably also can argue that it can be viewed as a non or less capitalistic way of doing and sharing art. And I feel that's pretty interesting. And that be a perfect transition to some of the inconvenience, in my opinion, of the license. First, let's talk about money. When all my work was Pixabay, I couldn't make a living with it, even with donations, Bandcamp and Spotify. And when music was just a side project, it was perfectly fine. But when I started to think, okay, I may want to do this as a full-time job, I had to realize at some point that only sharing Pixabay music, often for free, wasn't going to be enough to make a living. Some would even consider this as the worst move possible for a music career. That probably won't surprise many people, but with open source licenses, some of your work can be a bit popular and at the same time you can struggle with money. And in a way that makes complete sense. Let's say, for example, that someone uses your Pixabay song in a video that made 50 million views. Well, technically speaking, you earn nothing directly. The person that makes the video doesn't have to pay you anything, and that was the deal. If the person downloaded your song for free, for example on FMA, your bank account will still show €0 at the end of the day. And again, that was the deal. So the thing is, you can open, for example, a Bandcamp or upload your tracks on Spotify, so this exposure will benefit you indirectly. So my tracks were on these platforms, and that was cool. Reading your comments, I believe a lot of people discovered my work thanks to the people using my work on their projects. I'm super grateful for it. And then a percentage of these people went to Spotify and bought my song on Bandcamp. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, still couldn't make a living with it. And to this day, I can only make a living by writing custom music for clients. Not with only Spotify, not with only Bandcamp, for example. I'm personally cool with it. I'm really happy to write for people. I really love doing that. And I feel extremely lucky that some people enjoy my work so much that they are willing to pay me to write for them. An absolute honor. I'm just saying that if your plan is to go full Pixabay and you want to rely solely on Spotify or Bandcamp to make a living, it will probably be a bit difficult. I couldn't find a reliable source on this, so I don't know if that is true, but I've heard that to make a living on Spotify alone, you would need at least 100k monthly listeners. So I'm not saying this is impossible, of course not. Who would I be to know something like this? I'm just saying it probably can be a bit difficult given what streaming services are paying at the moment. The other thing is control. When you have a copyrighted song, you have all the rights by default, at least in the country where I am right now. You can sell one or more rights to people and it's called licensing. And that way you can make money as a composer. You basically can choose where your work is going to be used, how and for how much money. With Pixabay, you give basically all the rights except the one that says that you're the original creator. The problem is, when you're a freelance, for example, it's quite difficult to track misuses of the license when you're alone. So for my songs I used the Pixabay version of the license. That means you can do basically whatever you want with the tracks, even commercially, with correct attribution. You can do whatever you want except saying you composed the track. And unfortunately that happened with one of my tracks. Remember Synthwave Vibe? Well, one day I checked my YouTube stats on YouTube Studio and stumbled upon a weird cover I didn't recognize. Seemed weird, the track didn't seem to be mine because I didn't recognize the cover, but it was called Synthwave Vibe, so I naturally clicked on the link and ended up on this. Yep, my song. And to be honest, I was quite shocked. Provided by TuneCore? Does this mean this is also on Spotify? Yep. So I did what every desperate people do when they don't know what to do. I wrote a tweet about it. So maybe this person doesn't know that it's not allowed by the Pixabay license, or maybe it's a proper theft. I cannot know, and honestly I don't have the time and energy to deal with this at the moment. I'm a freelance, I'm on my own. All my energy is going on making better music, finding new clients, and dealing with administrative stuff. I'm tired of this word sometimes, gotta be honest. Anyway, my point being, licensing under a CC BY license makes you lose control on the track. That's the deal, for the better and for the worse. It can make wonderful connections and bring you awesome opportunities. But also, it can associate your music with things you might not be 100% with, or other less cool stuff, depending on the perspective. And if you're not comfortable with that, maybe it's not a good option. But if you're cool with that, let's go! I'd say so far, sharing this music with this license had an overall very positive impact on me, and I hope on others as well. On the other side of the spectrum, I also understand people that release only copyrighted and locked songs. After all, it's for us composers, maybe one of the only thing we really have to make a living with our work at the moment. Or maybe there are other ways I haven't found yet, who knows. So this is it, just some thoughts about this license. Hope somehow this will be interesting or useful for some. Thank you for taking the time to hear me, thank you for being here. Take good care, my friends, bye!